Hey, welcome back, guys. This is 2023, and I'm super excited to be here. Now, this video is inspired by the movie Perfect Assistant by Cheney Love Eze, a Nigerian Nollywood producer who has smashed the records for years, making amazing love stories because I love her love stories in particular. Okay, so right now I'm going to focus and draw some attributes of a masculine male, of the kind of male that I've always talked about in principle on this channel, but now using somebody that is a real character. Meanwhile, link to the movie is down here in the description, and all about the actors are also in the movie if you check it out. Okay, now so let's go straight into why this is such a big deal. By the way, if today is your first time seeing my face, hello, my name is Chisum, and I'm your girl who unveils women to the men who love them, and as well help men to build their self-esteem and win at home in particular. Okay, now let's go straight into this movie inspired case study that will totally blow your mind. This is a new phase, beginning of a new calendar year, and it is so instrumental to know that you can work towards becoming a better version of yourself. And for me, the name of this movie, Perfect Assistant, just feels a bit more like, moving to perfection, if you ask me. But anyway, it had nothing to do with that. Without trying to spoil the movie in any way, I mean, I don't intend to do that because I need you to go watch this movie, support this entrepreneur, and also get to know this character intimately so that you can tell whether these attributes I'm picking out are all worth it. If this is the kind of video you want to see, then don't go anywhere. And this is the right time to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe and join the gang if you haven't, okay? All right, so we'll go straight into analyzing the character. Maurice Sam is the name of this male protagonist in this movie, Perfect Assistant. But in the movie, his character's name is Osaze or Saze or Osaz, okay? And this is such a young man that inspired me to be able to pick up my camera to say, okay, let's hit the street for the first video in 2023. Now, first of all, this character or Saze, man who is very hardworking. Now, hard work can be misconstrued, it can be a lot of things. But when the movie started, we could see somebody who is well read, I mean, like a university graduate, but who, because of scarcity of jobs, the movie was, of course, situated in Nigeria, West Africa, and Africa, okay? And then in the recession, we are still in the inflation period, okay? And of course, he couldn't get a quintessential white collar job, but he didn't sit on his oars, which is why I said hard work is in different phases. So I see a man who is focused on making sure that he can at least pick up his bills, he can at least be a contributor to his own life and to other people. So he didn't stay back and say, okay, because there are no jobs, I won't do anything. So the film opened with us seeing him as an Uber driver, a very rash one, if you ask me, right? In our generation, I don't know why, a lot of young men, we still find young men who are laid back about finding what it is that they can do, especially because of the big ego. So you see them saying, oh, I can't do taxi. Meanwhile, they can't even afford a car, right? So even the fact that, having a taxi business entails you having your own car, or at least being able to negotiate with someone who can let you use theirs and you pay them back in in commission, or what they call that, like you guys have an equity sharing kind of. But some people go ahead to look down on those kind of jobs. Now, this was the job that Osaze was doing at the beginning of this movie. But of course, he progressed to a point that we discovered that he was not just waiting, he had bills to pick. And then he went ahead to get a job. And do you know what gave him the facelift or the privilege about getting his job first is the fact that he had a skill. So Asoze was very good with PR, design, and the rest. And also, that landed him, in a very tricky way into having a job. Now, this job changed the trajectory of his life. Okay. Now, Osade is someone that is hardworking, graduate, and we have established that. Another thing that stood out with this character is that Osade is not the guy who tolerates being used by girls. You know why this is very important? I see a whole lot of men, boys, who have been socialized, in the obvious way that makes them praise, that make them play things in the hands of girls. And Osaze didn't come off as that guy, and never was. And he even owned up to the fact that he was not that kind of guy. Now, what do I mean? Osaze is not the guy that when he's in a relationship with you and he decides to let it go, comes back to his vomit in that sense. And that played out a lot in this movie. Okay. He also is not the type that tolerates infidelity and lack of commitment. He knew exactly his worth, right? He knows his worth as a guy, right? So he didn't go pursuing girls who would drag him back, in that sense. He put his focus on the goal. He didn't mind being single at the time this movie opened. He was single, right? Even though some things were happening around him, but we saw how he was able to rebuff them and keep them at bay and said no to all the things that some guys would have said, oh, it's an opportunity to hit it, because we live in a world where girls and women are practically throwing themselves on men. Like, like we say, sex is the cheapest thing to get, right? But Osaze was not that guy. He had opportunities upon opportunities to take advantage and lay back and take the crumbs that were presented to him. But no, Osaze was one guy who goes for the kill. That's my next point. Osaze's character is the guy who goes for the kill. Now, the fact that he doesn't really have a steady job, he was hustling, he was, of course, angry because of his status, did not prevent him from knowing when to lay down his guards, when to play subtle, when to be submissive, when to, flow with the rudiments to get what he wanted. That is very admirable. That for me was such a healthy self-esteem right there. Okay. And so moving on to girls and self-esteem, you don't be the man in this new phase that is a plaything in the hands of girls. Sometimes I say this all the time. Most guys think, oh, I'm the one hitting the girls. I'm having my way with XYZ. Meanwhile, most of those girls are actually the ones that have checked you on their list. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get his friend and all that. And they're checking you out of their list. Oh, done. Meanwhile, you think most times that you're the one, using them. Yeah, so we're past that age where most majority of times women are feeling used in that sense, and that is very, very instrumental and stood out from the character of Osaze. Osaze was also a guy who was very family oriented. We saw that from the very first scenes where he was talking to his mother, and he was also a guy who was not given to frivolity. Who was not going to tolerate any high-handedness, any mediocrity and stuff. Okay. And that is very, very, very instrumental. If there's something that you as a guy need to double down on, this phase, is to know when to give, know where to go where you are appreciated, know when to say no. Okay, and that's, for me, is a life lesson that we can draw from. Osaze was also a man who had a can-do spirit. He does not believe that anything is impossible, so he would try. Even if it cost him his peace of mind, he would try. He would negotiate. Even if it's going to get him embarrassed, he was going to take the embarrassment anyway when he's sure he has exhausted his options. And that's something that is very admirable in a man. For most women like their men tough, like their men resilient, like their men able to find solution despite what it is. And for me, that's a good character. I mean, it means that you have the skill to survive at life in general. And that's not because all of these things I'm saying are supposed to be for only men alone. But of course, like this family is majorly focused on men. Okay, so another thing that really stood out for me in that character was the fact that Osaze did not feel low, did not feel abashed to be able to admit to the fact that he was in love.
Outside? Sandra, I beg, just to go. You see, at my workplace at this show, I don't want anyone, I don't want your drama at all. I don't want your soap opera at all. Just to go. It's too much. Block me for waiting. See, I didn't warn you now. Just to go. I will call security for you. Security. Security. This is how they play. Security.
I still love you.
apologize for what you saw.
You have some gut, I'll give you that.
I was surprised to see her. Okay, she's not my girlfriend. She's my ex.
I don't care.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. That's why you're pissed.
I'm your boss, Osaze, in case you've forgotten. And if I should be pissed at anything at all, it's your impropriety at the office. I should fire you right now.
I love you. Alina, I love you. Okay, Sandra is just my silly ex who's obsessed with big cars, and then when she saw me in your car, she ran back to me. I love you, and only you. And I would never disrespect you like that. Never.
And it's not just about feeling in love. There are certain men who also like to feel like they are in love when the girl concerned is lower than them in age, lower than them in social status, lower than them in so many areas. So most of those kind of men, I see them as men who prey on their victims. I'm sorry to say, but that's the way I see it. And I'm one of those women who cringe at men who just take things that come to them at the platter, things that come easy. So they take easy women. So those are the kind of men you see comfortable with. I call them like coercing minors, abusing minors, taking advantage of helps, taking advantage of domestic staff, which is very, very, very disgusting if you ask me. But Osaze is not that kind of guy. Osaze is exactly the opposite. He knows exactly when to admit to falling in love. I mean, what you fall in love with, not just admire from afar, shows who you really are. He did not also allow the fact that he doesn't have money in his pocket to tell him to determine the value or his place in society. A lot of men place themselves according to their bank account, and that's something you should totally stop this year, right? You are not your bank account. You are not the money in your pocket. A lot of men don't have a say anywhere when they feel that they are broke. And for me, boy, that's really creepy because you're bigger than money. You're bigger than anything that life presents because you can make everything work for you because you are in charge. You are not ordinary, and I don't know where you get this from. Who told you that because now things are not working out, it's not going to work out? And if you always diffuse this energy for positivity and things, you are going to further delay positive things that are coming your way. And this is not the season to be pessimistic. If nothing at all, you have to make sure that you are focused on the goals that you want to achieve. You have set your short-term goals on achieving your long-term goals without blinking an eyelid. Despite whose ox is God, as long as it's something that is legitimate, of course, right? There's nothing very prestigious about anything you can't own up to. Anything you can't be proud of in public, you can't receive an award for, then it's not worth it. So I'm saying that kind of man who puts his eye on the goal and doesn't value himself necessarily by the things he has right now because he sees himself where he's going to. He has a vision of where he's going to. That's the kind of person that Osaze was or is in the movie Perfect Assistant. And Osaze has a dozen and a billion dose of self-control when it comes to his sexuality. And that was the one thing that broke me in that movie in a good way. Like, I was watching that movie and I was like, oh my God, what if majority of men and boys understood the power of self-control when it comes to their genitals, when it comes to their reproductive organs, when it comes to sex? That was something that Osaze over and over and over again in that movie scored a 5-star art. Right? You don't let your genitals direct you. You have a brain for a reason. And we need to stop the whole phenomenon that men are things, are like dolls people can take away. You've heard women say things like, oh, she took my man. And I'm wondering, excuse me? And I'm sure sometimes you're shocked, like, why do they treat men like they don't have sense? They are one senseless teddy bears who can't have their own mind, because those kind of men are allowing the genitals to take their direction. Sadly, Osaze was not that kind of man, and it was so admirable to watch. Trust me, trust me, trust me. I was blown away. Chini Love Eze, kudos to you on this amazing movie and all your amazing movies. I've watched 4 of them in 48 hours since I discovered your channel. Amazing. And you guys, I endorse her movies. If you love stories, drama, yes. But there also was a guy who was not afraid to ask for help. A lot of men are hung up on this thing. You know I'm talking to you, right? This is not the year for you to wallow in loneliness, to just be alone. This is the year where you go out, look for people who has won at something you're struggling at, and get the templates from them. Get the ways to do something from them. Don't deny yourself success just because things happening in your head. Put positive stuff in your head. Tell yourself that it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to seek for help, so that your brain can help you in the direction of the solution when it spots it. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Next thing that's talking about us today, he was not afraid to admit a wrong. He was not afraid to apologize. He was never afraid to say, I'm sorry. Neither was he afraid to say, I love you when he meant it. And that is so key, guys. I can go on and on and on about this character, but I need you to watch a movie to understand better. And I'm charging you this new year to go out there and step up by practicing, by saying no, by being firm, by studying, by researching, reading books, associating with the right people, disconnecting with energy drainers and people who are not taking you anywhere. If your company are made up of people who are hailing you, you should change that company. You should be in a company where you're looking up to the level where others are for good. Yeah, so those are things I wanted to share with you. I hope you're able to enjoy some of these clips, and then go check out this movie and let me know what you think about the character and any other male character there, for example. And yeah, until I come your way again, which is really pretty soon, ask me any question you'd like to know about me, about this male community, about anything on your relationship and about women, and I will answer them in a video very soon. Bye.